I'm Ruth Ann Hall. I'm the purchasing agent for Lake County. Thank you so much for attending this webinar this morning. Today, my colleagues and I are going to share with you how to do business with Lake County through upcoming contracting and subcontracting opportunities. For some listening to this webinar, you may have already have experience working with local, county, or state governments. And for others, this may be your first introduction to doing government contracting. Regardless, our goal today is to provide insight on how to do business with Lake County, providing information on how to register your business, Lake County specific forms, and tools that will help you develop your business strategy to work with Lake County. Through this outreach event, we want all potential contractors and vendors, whether you're women, minority or veteran owned, or small, local, or national business, to understand how to access upcoming contracting opportunities directly with Lake County, and learn about ways in which you may provide services as a subcontractor, either through unique opportunities such as Lake County's job order contracting program, or through national cooperative purchasing programs that will allow you to not only service Lake County, but local governments nationwide. So with that, again, we'll provide that overview of the contracting and subcontracting opportunities with Lake County. Our agenda will be showing you how to quickly do business with Lake County, the procurement opportunities that we have available through our fiscal year 23 construction program services, goods and equipment, and then cooperative purchasing. So Lake County invests around $200 million each year on various goods and services. It's from small items to large purchases. And we spend more than $34 million locally, from one-person vendors to large businesses and national companies. Doing business with Lake County, we like to say, is as easy as 1, 2, 3. You'll get registered, and you can register for free at doingbusiness.lakecountyil.gov. And getting the business, you're going to submit your bids, your proposals, or quotes for your products and services, and we're going to review those and evaluate them and make a recommendation. If you're selected, you'll be able to enter a contract with Lake County. And the third, of course, is to get paid. Issuing invoices for goods and services, Lake County makes payment within 30 days from the date of the invoice was received. The government procurement process can be a little challenging. We're here to hopefully simplify it for you. Lake County is doing a lot of business. We issue about 75 to 100 bids and requests for proposals annually, and 25% of those procurements are for construction services. We try our best to engage local and minority contractors through our job order contracting program, and we want to make sure that we've got that opportunity to get you registered for bid opportunities. So the types of purchases that we work with are invitations for bids. Those are purchases that are over $30,000 that require legal advertising and a formal opening of the bids. And we have the requests for proposals. Those are proposals for professional services such as equipment maintenance, consulting, engineering, or janitorial services. And those contractors are awarded to the most qualified vendor. And then we have requests for quotes. Any of those purchases that are under $30,000 that use a purchase order and obtain direct quotes from vendors. Purchasing's role is to make sure that we're ensuring that open competitive process to protect against any fraud or favoritism. We assist the departments and agencies in purchasing the required goods and services in conformance with the Lake County Purchasing Ordinance. We're the ones that are accepting the bids and proposals and facilitating that evaluation. And with webinars such as this, we're striving to increase that awareness for Lake County about business opportunities for local, women-owned, and minority-owned businesses. There are some specific forms that Lake County has if you are doing business with Lake County. The first of which is our vendor disclosure statement. And I'm going to share that with you. All of these are available on our website at doingbusiness.lakecountyil.gov. The vendor disclosure form was developed in accordance with the Lake County Ethics Ordinance and the Lake County Purchasing Ordinance. And since January 2019, The Lake County Board implemented a vendor disclosure statement policy, which requires vendors to disclose any familial relationships between a Lake County elected official, department director, deputy director, manager, and owners, principals, or officers of the vendors' companies, as well as campaign contributions to county elected officials. So if you're doing business with Lake County, you'll see this form as part of the solicitation. It provides you the information, will ask for you to provide your name, address, the contact person, and then you'll address any familial relationships here and campaign contributions. We ask that you acknowledge the information is accurate and complete by providing us a signature. There is the ability to have an exception. And if you do have an exception to this form, simply mark your X here and provide the information to us, and we will review that in accordance with the vendor disclosure policy. The second form I want to share with you is our vendor certification form. This form here will also be provided with all of our public procurement solicitations. This information is provided to get the information on who is applying for the bid or the proposal, getting your vendor name, address, and the primary contact information for who we may be working with throughout the procurement. The second part of this form is where we're asking you to provide that vendor certification statement. This information is just collected for reporting purposes and not for vendor selection. If you do have a formal certification, we ask that you provide that information to us here in the form here, and you can simply select none with the certification number and agency information here. If you're not sure on which any of those definitions are for vendor certification, we have a secondary page which will provide you the descriptions to see if you do in fact meet any of the certifications. Again, we ask that you certify this information as accurate to the best of your knowledge and be able to provide that information on behalf of your company. The next is our sustainability statement. Let me grab that for you. You're going to find information on our sustainability statement as well as part of all of our public procurements. Lake County is committed to green and sustainable practices and good environmental stewardship. And proposers interested in doing business with Lake County are asked to provide a statement of sustainability to demonstrate that they are also incorporating sustainability into their company practices. Vendors are asked to provide a clear description of the company's sustainable practices, policies, or procedures in the following area. And again, all you're asking for you to do is, if you do in fact have a sustainability policy, any awards or accolades, provide that a copy of those. Provide us any practices that you have in waste minimization for energy, water efficiency, and methods instituted to reduce pollution, green products, utilize staff education, community involvement, and volunteerisms. Also, if you can help us identify any sustainable approaches your firm may have for the specific project, or any cost variances to incorporate a more sustainable approach to this project, and any calculated life cycle costs. Sustainability is very important to Lake County, and we're hoping to also learn a lot from our vendors. So this form here is meant to help inform us and maybe improve our practices as well. The next form is our responsible bidders affidavit. This form is specific to any construction projects with Lake County. You'll see this form here, and we'll ask again that this will apply to all construction contracts that are financed in whole or in part with county public funds. And this has been in effect since November 12th, 2019. It does not apply to federally funded construction projects or are at this moment the Division of Transportation projects. Again, we're asking you to provide your vendor name, your federal tax ID, and the contact person. There'll be information here on what the responsible bidders is, and we're asking that you certify that you have not received any notices of violation of the Illinois Prevailing Wage Act, or if any notice has been provided, a copy of the notice attached. And then if the event that the notary receives such a notice, any documentation demonstrating the resolution of any such notice. We also ask that all bidders provide 3 projects detailed on the invitation for bid reference form, disclose the name and address of each subcontract from who the contractor has accepted a bid and or intends to hire as part of the project prior to the subcontracting commencing work on the project. And most importantly, the bidder and bidder's subcontractors must participate in active apprenticeship and training programs approved and registered with the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Apprenticeship for each of the trades of work contemplated under the award. And we're going to ask that you provide a separate document listing of all the trades that are to be contracted under the awarded contractor and submit the certificate of registration for the apprenticeship and training programs. We understand that sometimes you may not be aware of all the subcontractors that you're going to be working with. So purchasing will work with the awarded vendor to make sure that we have all of those on file before we begin work. The other thing I want to share with you are the insurance templates. Lake County has provided insurance templates, and they're available on our website at thedoingbusiness.lakecountyil.gov. We've worked with our insurance agency to make sure that we've identified all the insurance requirements. We've developed these standard templates for construction, goods and services, professional services, and vehicles. The insurance requirements detail the level needed for items such as commercial general liability, automobile liability, excess umbrella liability, and workers' compensation. There's guidance on how the insurance should be endorsed, naming the county as an additional insured, and how to provide the insurance to Lake County throughout the term of your contract. Again, all of these forms are available on the county's website, in addition to the policies as well, and feel free to make sure you read through them or ask any questions in advance. Now I'm going to turn it over to Carl Carrar to go through our fiscal year 23 construction program and walk through any contracting and subcontracting opportunities.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Carl Carrar, Director of Facilities and Construction Services here for the county. So what you have in front of you here are the list of projects that we have coming up this fiscal year. We are starting the budgeting process for next year, but this is what we currently have out there. It's a combination of job order contracts and open bids, and you'll see those there. There are a lot of opportunities for subcontracts with each one of these, and you'll be able to go ahead and go on the doing business. I think you could, on the purchasing website itself, you'll be able to find all of these bids and all these opportunities there, and we're going to show you that, I think, in a follow-on slide, right, Suzanne? Okay. So the ones that are currently out on the street right now, we have the general contracting services for the Rock. That's a regional operations and communications facility. Radio tower, those two are out on the street right now. Public Works, I can't speak to that one, but I think that's going out soon. Solar array, and then we have a couple opportunities here downtown with the construction of the north entrance, and it's modernization of the entrance here, our primary admin building. And it's missing a zero there. It should be $1.5 million. So you go to the next slide. Next items that are coming up, they'll be going out fairly soon. I think we're looking at summer time frame when these will be hitting the street. Is security improvements. It's a general work with access control, electronic surveillance, that sort of stuff across all of our buildings. Jail detention doors, that's kind of exactly what it is. We're modernizing that area. Laundry equipment is a equipment install. And then as Depke ARPA improvements, it's a major renovation project we have at our Depke Juvenile Detention Center. And it's a rehabilitation and courts area, but that's a rather large renovation project that we have, and that'll be going out sometime in the next 2 months to hit the street. Go on to the next slide if we could. And Alex, you're hitting the questions as they pop up. I see people are kind of jumping in.
I am, yes.
Okay.
But at any time, if you do want to, answer any on screen, for example, we just got one that came in, you're welcome to do so.
Sure. Well, I see Anthony had a question on here. Does a vendor have to be pre-qualified for a job program? So the simple answer to that is yes, because this is a multiple source contract and it was competitively solicited and awarded to 3 contractors. And you see the name of the contractors there that are our current job order contractors. It's Paul Borg, McDonough Demolition, and Homestead Electric. Doing subcontract work for them, you do not have to be pre-qualified, but we will have those in there's another slide coming up and you'll see the contact information. You reach out to them to perhaps be a subcontractor for them. So the initial term for this was 12 months with 4 one-year leases. We're actually coming into the final contract year this summer. We'll be renewing them. And a typical contract value per contractor year is $2 million. So $6 million in total per year. And I will tell you that we have maximized each one of these contracts. So we're executing somewhere between $4 and $6 million a year in total with the job order contracting. And go on to the next slide. Okay, let me tell you what job order contracting is for us. So it says really it was used for smaller type of projects, but we have any kind of a range from small $30,000 projects all the way up to $1.5 million that we put on there. And it really kind of depends on the type of work, the trades involved, and the security sensitivity of where some of these projects are based. So the job order contractor uses the Gordian group which is they have a giant construction book with all the pre-priced items on that. And then what we do is we get our estimates and put that together with the job order contractors, and that pricing comes back to us through that means. So it's really the job order contract is a very efficient and effective tool for us. We were able to go ahead and execute much quicker. It is not a full supplement or replacement of different procurement types. It's just an additional tool on our toolbox for us to go ahead and accomplish work here at the county. Hit the next one. A little bit more on the details of what job order contracting is. It's firm fixed price. These are all pre-priced work items within the construction task catalog. What I just described, the Gordian Group runs that. They competitively bid against all the bidders, and they have a slight percentage that they put on top. It's indefinite quantity work, which means is there any value between $50,000 and $2 million a year. And job orders are issued for individual projects and primarily focus on our facilities assessment contracts, our projects. I will tell you that we do use a job order contract for other areas. We've used it for our Public Works Department, our Division of Transportation, and our Health Department have all tapped into the job order contract to help execute. Here's the contractors. I don't see them on the attendees list, but these are the primary leads for each one of the different companies here. Again, this slide deck will be shared for everybody that you'll be able to reach out and contact them for potential work. And we look forward to your business. Now, let's see. I don't see any other questions. I hope that answers the one question about the pre-qualifications for JOC program. Go on to the next slide. I think we're going to pass it over.
So there was a question in the chat about other opportunities, and we'll be going through those. Now, these are some of those opportunities that we have for fiscal year 23. These are some of our services coming up in the second, third, and fourth quarters. We've got the janitorial services, snow plowing and removal services, entry screening and security services. We've got digital ortho imagery, which is through our chief county assessment officer, but that is in fact an IT kind of led procurement as well. We've got inmate food, in which we're providing the food for the inmates, commissary for jail, and our linen and laundry services. Some goods and equipment that we've got identified are fire hydrant assemblies and repair parts for our Lake County Public Works. For the County Public Works, we also have sand, gravel, stone, and soil removal. We've got some simple commodities such as our copy paper or specialty paper that we use for elections. For our sheriff's office, we've got uniform and armored vest and squad printers for the sheriff's office. And then we've got some auto oil lubricants for the Division of Transportation. I know there's some questions on technology procurements, and those are typically handled through cooperative purchasing. So we wanted to provide some opportunity on cooperative purchasing as well. This is really another tool, such as job order contracting, that helps us decrease our procurement timeframe and work directly with our selected suppliers with terms and conditions and pricing, which is pre-negotiated. So I'm going to hand it over now to Tammy Rhymes. She's the Executive Director of the National Cooperative Procurement Partners, and she's going to go through how vendors can work through cooperative purchasing to work directly with Lake County.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm Tammy Rhymes, not only the Executive Director for NCPP, but I was also a former purchasing agent for the City of San Diego and long-term government manager, so working with suppliers as well. So the idea behind cooperative procurement is fairly simple. What it means is an organization or a government entity has gone through that long solicitation process, and that the result is a contract that many entities or agencies can use. So me, at the former City of San Diego, I could use that contract, Lake County could use that contract, and hundreds of other agencies could use that same contract. So the way this works is there's multiple cooperative organizations across the nation, and they do their own solicitation, and it can be everything from food to tires to office supplies. And when they put out these national or regional solicitations, they have many, many suppliers come and compete for that. That awarded contract is then available for others to use. You might think, well, why in the world would anybody use that? So next slide, please, Ruthann. So on the buy, let's start with the buyer side. So on the buyer side, the main reason that we would use a cooperative contract is that long solicitation process. It's already been done for us. So instead of having to wait months to get what we need, there's a ready to go contract. So it really does save time because the solicitation has already been done, and we can quickly procure those goods and services or even construction projects that we need. The second is saving money, because just think of it in your personal life. A lot of you go to Costco or Sam's Club or any of those big box stores because you know the warehouse pricing will drive down pricing for all. Well, it's the same with cooperatives. When you have many entities using the same contract, you, the suppliers, are calculating that. And so your pricing or added value services are really improved on a cooperative contract. And so saving money is a big reason. Next is proven solutions. And this is really important. If you have a really good working relationship with an entity like Lake County, and you've been serving them well, and they love you, you love them, but your contract's coming up for expiration, this is a way for you to say, look, we can still continue working together, but now instead of having an RFP go out, here's a cooperative contract that you might want to consider. So a lot of times we in government, we may have departments that want to standardize, whether it's IT, we all want to be on HP products, or, the fleet director wants only a certain brand of truck or utility vehicle or heavy equipment. This is a way for us to go out and specifically to that customer or that supplier and get what we need. And then finally, the last minute requests, the emergencies, the end of the fiscal year, the grants about to expire. Those are real things that procurement teams have to deal with all the time. And sometimes we don't have time to put out a solicitation because the fiscal year is only 2 weeks away and we need to quickly buy that stuff. So here are the primary reasons why buyers would use a cooperative. My next slide shows you why this would be important to you as a supplier. So that's okay, that pie chart. So for those who have a cooperative contract, here's kind of the breakdown. And this is data that's by GovWin by Deltek. And they've gone out and surveyed companies across the country. And these are big as well as small, disadvantaged business, minority-owned businesses. And what they found is this is where your typical book of business comes from when you sell to government. So the biggest one is about 34% is bids and RFPs. And Ruthann and her team did a great job sharing what some of those upcoming opportunities are. The next maybe are the almost 20% is that informal purchasing, the sole source, where we quickly need to get stuff. It's an emergency, so we buy a lot of stuff that way. Statewide contracts is a way to also get business. And then subcontracting, they were mentioning JOC quite a bit, and it's an excellent opportunity for you to subcontract under those 3 main contractors that they listed. So start that conversation and relationship with those JOC contractors right now, because even those of you that don't do clearly construction, there's always opportunities. So for instance, they have just built a new building. Well, that building's going to need furniture. It's going to need lighting. It's going to need materials for the restrooms. So the subcontracting opportunities can be very wide. So start that conversation. And then the last one, that's about me, cooperative purchasing. Those businesses who have a cooperative contract, they can make up to about 11, and I've heard as high as 16% of their sales volume can go through cooperative contracts. And you may be sitting there and go, look, Tammy, I'm a small business. I don't know if I could serve a national footprint through this. Well, I bet you already have an awarded government contract. It may be just up the road at another city or county. If they have, and I'm gonna have you ask them, piggybackable language on that contract, that means you can offer that as a contract, a cooperative contract, because they put in language that would allow you to have other procurement teams piggyback upon. So it's just an idea, and I appreciate Ruth Ann inviting me here to start thinking sort of outside of the box of other ways to gain business. The next slide. So I want to talk a little bit. So you already have that cooperative contract or a government contract. So when you come into the meeting, a lot of folks might think, well, shoot, I've already got this contract. I'm just going to put that on the table and business is done. Well, not exactly. Slow down a little bit, because first you have to sell your product or service. I need to know you. I need to know a little bit more about your company, what you do, who you've already worked with. So sell your product or service first. Then the cooperative contract or other government contract is a way for me to get to your service without having to go out to bid. You may have your own expiring contracts coming up. This may be an opportunity to start that conversation about other piggybackable contracts. Or you might want to ask Ruth Ann and say, okay, here's my commodity, here's my area. Who are you currently contracted with, and when do those contracts expire? Because then that gives you a heads up and starts a lead in for future sales. The subcontracting we mentioned, particularly with the job contractors. And then I have to really tell you that the end of the fiscal year is very important for government. We spend a lot of money, because at the end of the fiscal year, all of those departments that we serve in procurement, they have money to spend, and they need to spend it before the end. So it's quick, it's fast, we're in constant communication with suppliers. So we're very much moving away in procurement from a transactional relationship to a partnership with our suppliers. So please start creating those relationships now, because at the end of the fiscal year, when Ruth Ann or any one of her team they need to quickly fill a need, they're picking up the phone or they're going to their vendor registration program and quickly finding those suppliers who can help them. So I hope these help you a little bit. We've put the website on here, ncppassociation.org, have a lot more free resources on cooperative purchasing. And you can always reach out to me as well. My email is on that website. So thanks, Ruth Ann and gang, for inviting me to the party.
Thank you, Tammy. That is a great opportunity that we might not have explored previously. And we really want to make sure everybody knows every opportunity that they have to do business with Lake County. So you've been hearing us talk about our website, doingbusiness.lakecountyil.gov, and it really is a resource for you to understand how to register with us, get those opportunities for bids and RFPs, and then also to identify our awarded contracts. So here, if you click here, get registered and vendor login, this is where you're going to register with us. This information goes into a database. So if we have other departments that are looking for services, they can contact the purchasing division and we can go through our vendor registry and connect them with you to get those quotes for items that are under 30,000, or even use that vendor directory to help procure specific items that they need in an emergency, or if they're just looking to do some market research and get to know the vendors. Here with our bids and RFPs, you're going to see what we have open and available for bids. You're going to see what is open and on the street right now. You see that purchase of the fire hydrant assemblies that we identified in this is on the street. It's due on the 21st of March. And then we've got White Deer Run. It is due on April 5th. If you click on each one of these numbers, you're going to go and learn about information on it. You're going to see the link to our addendum. We have the bid documents, but if there's any questions that are asked during the procurement time, that addendum is going to be available for anyone who has downloaded it to understand any changes, and we'll ask that you acknowledge that as part of the bid. For bids, we host bid openings electronically through Zoom, much the same platform as we're doing here. The information for that will also be available to all vendors. And then here is the download list, which is kind of the good old-fashioned plan holders list that we used to have. This here provides you information on who has downloaded the bid. So if you are a subcontractor looking through the bid document saying, I might not be able to handle this entire general contracting responsibility, but I can assist in giving quotes for general subcontracting, reach out to those individuals who have downloaded the bid and start networking. Those are great opportunities for you. The other information I'm going to provide with you is our awarded contracts page. This is a great resource. As Tammy was saying, you want to know what business Lake County is doing and who we have currently worked with. So you are able to search all of our active contracts if you know the company name, the number, or the title. So in this instance, we had looked at our job order contracting. You can simply search and you'll see the 3 contracts that we have available for that. You'll see not only the contractor's name, you'll see the bid tabulation, the bid document, any renewals that we've had, or any modifications. And these information will provide you the link to the vendors that we are currently doing business with that you can reach out, or you can certainly contact Lake County in advance of the procurement expiring. Example, right now, our current extension goes through July 30th, 2023. You can contact Lake County and see if we are in fact going to be renewing or extending another procurement, and make sure that we get you registered so you'll learn about those opportunities as well. The other thing I want to point out is we talked a lot about fiscal year. For Lake County, we're a little bit different, and each local and state government are, but Lake County's fiscal year is December 1st through November 30th. So when we're looking to make those purchases at the end of the fiscal year, those can start anywhere between August, September, and October to make sure that we get all of our goods and services received by the end of that fiscal year. So with that, we want to make sure that you're keeping informed. We've got this QR code that's going to keep bringing you back to our main page at doingbusiness.lakecountyil.gov, where you'll find all the information that you need to learn how to register your business, so provide any quotes or solicitations or RFPs, and then also how to see what our awarded contracts are. With that, I have contact information for myself and Carl Carrar, who provided information on construction and facilities. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Otherwise, again, thank you so much for this opportunity. Again, our goal is to make sure we're providing information to all of the vendors out there, whether you're a minority, women, veteran-owned, a small or a local business. We want to make sure that you know how to best do business with Lake County and the opportunities that are available. Thank you.
And while we wait like another minute just to see if others have questions, we did get a couple on just will the recording and slides be made available? And so the great part about this is once you registered on Zoom, we now have your contact information. So we'll get out an email later this week with the recording link so everyone can view that and see this presentation over and refer back to it. we did just get a question in. What if we need help filling out any of the forms you mentioned in the beginning? Is there anyone that can help with that?
Absolutely. If you have downloaded a bid or an RFP and you need assistance in filling out the forms, you can certainly ask the buyer that is assigned that information will be provided, or you can contact us at this general number 847-377-2180. We can walk through filling out the forms with you. If you have specific questions about the bid or the RFP, we may direct you through the addendum process. Again, we'll walk you through that. We want to make sure that we're providing the answers for everybody, so everybody has equal information about the solicitations.
Next question is, do you have a purchasing plan coming up for this year or next year?
So what we've shared with you today are some of our upcoming procurements. It is a plan, and so we tried to identify those that we know are coming up in the next couple quarters. The purchasing plan is always changing as some of our needs from our departments fluctuate. But again, this presentation is going to be available on the website, so you can continue to reference that.
We got a question on, are there any opportunities for accounting services? I know you put up kind of the opportunities, but someone did have a question on that.
Yes, in fact, we have two things. We did actually do a professional services contract for accounting services earlier this year, again, using the database of vendors that we had. So again, register so we know that you're out there and want to learn more about opportunities. We also have an annual audit that we do. And so if you search our contract database, you'll see who we are contracting with right now. We just awarded that to Baker Tilly. But again, those are opportunities that may come up each year or every 5 years at the expiration of that contract term. Make sure you're reaching out to us so we know who you are as well.
I got a question. We already do business with Lake County. Awesome. Glad to hear that. But the question is, has anything changed? I guess, and I think you might have detailed a couple of maybe some recent changes or just new updates in this presentation, but I'll kick it over to you, Ruthann, if there's anything you want to note.
Nothing substantial has changed. Again, if you've done business with Lake County, thank you. This opportunity is again to let you know what upcoming opportunities there are. And if you have questions about any of the forms that we do require, certainly reach out to us and we'll work with you directly.
Next question is the certification process just self-certifying by filling out the form, or are there separate third-party certifications required? For an example, women-owned business.
Lake County doesn't require certification. We're there just trying to gather the data. The state of Illinois allows for you to self-certify, but there are specific certification programs. And if you are certified through one of those, we want you to share that with us just so we can, again, have that information and report back to our board about the makeup of who we are doing business with and who is interested in doing business with Lake County.
Other question is your contracting based on the Illinois prevailing wages, or is it union labor, or is union labor required?
We work in accordance with the state of Illinois prevailing wage. So that requires that you do need to pay the prevailing wage to all of your contractors, and you need to provide evidence of that. That is done through submitting your certified payrolls through the Illinois Department of Labor, and they have a portal in which you can submit those electronically. What Lake County will ask is that for payment requests that you provide us the documentation that shows that you have in fact submitted your certified payrolls.
Last question that I see is, as a local carpet, tile, and upholstery cleaning business, do I need to bid for entire cleaning janitorial contracts, or will there be opportunities to clean local offices on a one-time basis as needed?
So one thing that we do at Lake County is we try to make sure that we put our bids together so that there's the opportunity to bid in whole or in part. So if we have a lot of different facilities, we may break those down, and you might be available to just do the cleaning for one or two of them. And we're going to award the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. And we may award, again, the contract in whole or in part if we're finding that that is in the best interest of Lake County. We also, again, do need those one-time cleanings, and I can't stress enough that it's helpful for us to have those vendors registered. So when Carl contacts us and asks us if we have vendors available, we need you to be able to give that information to us so that we can share that with our departments.
We got one more question.
I will add to that. Please reach out to me for that sort of thing, because we do spot cleaning, we do one-time cleaning from time to time. And if it's under the threshold of $30,000, I have a little bit more authority to go ahead and contract that out individually by doing a one-time purchase order for that. So please send me your information, Stephen, and then we'll have that in our backlog. And as things pop up, we'll reach out to you.
And that's a good point, Carl. There is a lot of information on the county's website. Again, purchasing is there to help facilitate, and specifically for anything over 30,000. But if it's a small dollar contract under 30,000, you can work through the Lake County website and reach out directly to the departments to introduce yourself. And hopefully they will also continue to encourage you to register with Lake County.
And one of the items I see on here a couple times, Ruthann, and maybe we can revisit that. It seems like there's questions on the union status or union bids. And while we don't require union labor, and we do incorporate prevailing wages into all of our contracts, the real requirement is that you have a training program within your company. Now, whether, the unions, they do fit that, they have an apprentice program, but as long as your business has some sort of training, it doesn't necessarily have to be union. So if you want to touch on that, maybe you can help clarify that. It seems like there's 2 or 3 questions that have touched on that.
Yes, and that's probably related to our responsible bidder affidavit, which I've shared here. Again, the one requirement is that you are going to have you as the main bidder and the subcontractors must participate in active apprenticeship and training programs approved and registered with the U.S. Department of Labor's apprenticeship office. And we have learned through some research that you can absolutely get that through unions, but there's also apprenticeship programs that have been recognized by the federal government through community colleges. So make sure you're reaching out to your local community college if you do need assistance in getting involved in an apprenticeship program.
And the other one I see on there, Alex, is professional services, specifically construction, project management, engineering. I see a couple questions that popped up on there, and from Greg and from Mahesh. So we do that from time to time. It is between facilities, public works, and division of transportation. Each of our 3 departments do architectural services, engineering services from time to time. Those are also posted on the purchasing portal when we go out for that.
And those services are done in accordance with the Professional Services Selection Act. So you'll actually see us issue out a statement of interest where we're gathering the information. We're telling you the services that we need. We're getting the information from you as to the services that you can provide to us. And it is awarded in accordance with state statute to the most qualified.
But please reach out to me if you like, and we will take that under consideration whenever we go out and do a solicitation of interest.
We have one more question. They're just asking about crane rentals. Do we rent cranes directly, or do we go through subcontractors?
We, the county, do not rent cranes out. So yeah, that is really put onto the contractors to coordinate all that. Of course, we do require safety plans and coordination, direct coordination with our department, so that any work is is really focused within our buildings, just for as a safety standard. But no, that is we definitely require that the contractors to sub that out or use contracting services for that as the work is necessary.
Well, I think we hit pretty much all our questions. Actually, I think we hit it about everyone. So great job to the team answering all the questions. Ruth Ann or anyone, is there anything you'd like to wrap up with, or should we close this out and then? Oh, you got one more thing. So go for it,
Oh,
Ruth
nope,
Ann.
I was just putting on that QR code again. If you are tech savvy, or just simply go to the website, we'll be providing information on upcoming procurements there. Make sure you get registered, and make sure we can get information out for you. And thank you again so much for attending today. We'll be continuing to do these webinars and provide more information on what Lake County is looking to buy in the future, and hopefully we'll be able to connect with you either through a direct contract or through a subcontract.
All right, terrific. Well, thank you everyone for attending today. Lots of great questions. Thank you to the team for all the great answers today. We will be shooting out an email with the recording, like we said, but you have our contact information too. So by all means, if you have any additional questions, you know how to reach us. And we thank you. Have a great week and take care.